Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Assalamu alaikum and good morning. I am General Harun, retired, and I welcome you on behalf of the Iqbal Institute of Policy Studies for a live webinar titled Disruptive Technologies in the Construction Sector and Their Relevance to Pakistan. The webinar will bring into limelight the significance of disruptive technologies in construction and highlight how Pakistan's construction industry can benefit from the use of such technologies. First of all, I would just like to say a few words about Iqbal Institute of Policy Studies, commonly known as IIPS. It is an independent research institute with a mission to generate, track, and advocate public policies towards the achievement of sustainable development in Pakistan. It is the first think tank in Pakistan that has a sharp focus on research on all dimensions of real estate development and construction and architecture and town planning. In addition to taking on research projects for policy advocacy, IIPS has embarked upon the concept of swift research, wherein it undertakes time-bound research and compiles a series of reports for policy and decision makers' attention. About the webinar, the use of disruptive technologies is steadily transforming the global construction industry with innovations such as drones, modular construction, 3D printing of buildings, and building information modeling softwares. Now, construction companies have to quickly adopt to these technological developments in order to remain competitive. Technology in the construction sector of Pakistan has enormous potential for growth and development, but teething problems related to lack of funds and governmental facilitation affects the ability of the industry to grow and remain competitive. Our webinar will dilate on all concepts of disruptive technology and their significance in the construction industry. The aim of the webinar will be well served if we are able to highlight the important role of such technologies in transforming the construction sector and suggest a way forward for Pakistan. We are fortunate to have eminent panelists who are from diverse backgrounds but can be considered as specialists in their own professional fields. I'll give a brief introduction. Dr. Sarosh Lodhi, he doesn't require any introduction. He's the Vice Chancellor of NED University of Engineering and Technology. Welcome, sir. We have Dr. Farooq Arif. He's an Associate Professor, an educationist and researcher at the NED University. His current research work is focused on the use of technology adoption in different areas of construction, energy, virtual and augmented reality. We have Mr. Arsalan Javed. He is the co-founder and director of Garana.com, Pakistan's first smartest property portal. He is also the founder of Artec, which is a 3D projection mapping company. His experience in the area of technological innovation in the real estate sector makes him a credible expert in this field. Then we have Dr. Asad Naeem. He's working as an assistant professor in Balochistan University of IT, Engineering and Management Sciences in the Department of Civil Engineering. He's a licensed professional engineer in the field of structures for the Pakistan Engineering Council. About the conduct of webinar, each participant is requested to speak on the topic for about 20 minutes, maybe 18 to 20 minutes. After the round of speech by all participants, we'll have the general discussion and Q&A session. और दूसरी एक और बात, जैसे कि हम अपने पहले वेबिनार्स में करते हैं कि आप उर्दू में भी बोल सकते हैं, इंग्लिश में भी बोल सकते हैं, और ताकि पर्पस ये है कि हमारा कम्युनिकेशन एक दूसरे से बेहतर हो और हमारी दलील और हमारा जो व्यू पॉइंट है वो आसानी से सब लोगों को समझ आ जाए. तो सबसे पहले I'll request to take the lead Dr. Sarosh Lodhi. Sir, floor is yours.
Bismillah Rahman Rahim. First of all, I'm grateful to General Harun and Iqbal Institute for bringing up ideas of different nature and then discussing them and then eventually passing on to the relevant quarters. I must say that we are going to talk about disruptive technology in Pakistan, but I must give a lot of credit to Iqbal Institute, which itself is becoming a disruptive think tank of actually providing different kind of ideas and pitching the ideas of the future. So, it's a mix of disruptive think tank and TEDx, where a lot of new ideas are pitched in. So, first of all, General Saab, please accept my heartiest congratulations on coming up with these innovative and different ideas. So this world is changing and changing very fast. And I am one of those people who have grown and have, grown with the time from the calculator age to the computer age and to the internet of today. I remember when I started my engineering degree at NED University way back in 1980. I call it previous century. This was about time when the calculators, especially the scientific calculators, started taking in, and this was another disruption in the process of calculation. Then came in the programmable calculators, and then came in the computers, and they were pretty slow at that time. I remember when I was doing my PhD, my supervisor bought me a hard disk of 1 GB, and at that time it was beyond anybody's imagination of a computer having 1 GB hard disk, which is laughing stock now. So, this technology of computer, and I always say this thing, and General Saab, I wish that this particular sentence becomes a very popular sentence, is that the computer is the second biggest invention of mankind. If anything has revolutionized the human race after the wheel, it is this computer and the small teeny chip, which has made things possible, which was beyond imagination. Even yesterday, and the technological development is going at an exceptional and exponential rate. So, having with this background, obviously, people do say that it is disruptive in some nature, but actually, it is. I would rather reckon it as a new way of doing things. It's not disrupting things, but it is teaching us to do things in a better and more efficient manner, so that things can be improved. Uh, Now, these so-called destructive technology actually started disrupting us the day computers came into being and we started using them. The cost, the size, this has reduced significantly over the last 50 years, but at the same time, they have grown, the computational power has grown tremendously. Then came in the internet, and because of the internet, the whole world has changed. And obviously now there are different ways of communication. We have cell phones, we have Wi-Fi's, and things like that. And I think in another 5 years' time, Wi-Fi would become a basic human necessity, and it probably would be equated with basic health and availability of water and education. Internet would gain that kind of this thing here. Then the computational power coupled with the ways to communicate is bringing in revolution, and it's bringing revolution in every field of life, and so is construction. Now, when we talk about construction, it has been our earnest desire as civil engineers that we should have quality assurance, standardization, and time-saving systems, so that we can produce things at a good quality at a cost-effective price. That is the objective, or one of the objectives of the construction industry. Having said that, construction industry is one of the biggest catalysts of reviving economies in any country. If you can revive construction in any country, that can turn around the economy in a very limited time. But in order to achieve the objectives of automation in construction industry and turning around the economy in the country, we have to have the kind of things that we have started talking about. Uh, but in order to have quality assurance mechanism, we would like eventually the decision-making processes wherever we make mistakes, and we keep on repeating those mistakes, has to be augmented by artificial intelligence algorithms. Instead of humans making mistakes again and again and paying the price, there must be systems of or algorithms of artificial intelligence, whether it is in the calculation of building design, whether it is the calculation of estimates for the cost estimates, whether it is keeping the pace of monitoring the pace of construction. The artificial intelligence subroutines are going to help us tremendously. And this is where the BIM, the Building Information Modeling, comes in. And building information modeling need not to say what it entails. It entails everything and anything that is related to a project of construction that is going on, from ownership of the land to the last screw and nut and bolt that you provide in that facility. And building information systems are coming up in a very big way. So it is not only an information system, but it has to be transformed into a decision-making system. And this is where the artificial intelligence algorithm has to come in sooner or later. And I'm pretty sure that there is a lot of research that is going on in embedding artificial intelligence routines in building and information system software and models, so that the decision making can be made without errors. The decision making can be efficient, and at the same time, the automation will reduce the cost also. So that is how I see the implementation of the artificial intelligence. Coming to the other kind of thing, which is the need of the hour, and if once again, if you remember, about 30, 40 years ago, the precast construction took up in the West. And the precast construction is modular, but it is mechanized. So you need cranes, you need standard formats, you need standard frameworks, you need standard materials, and then you can mass produce these prefabricated panels, put them together, and that gives you the housing or the construction that you want to do in a less time. However, the kind of thing that was done had some challenges of transportation, has challenges of joining the things together, had challenges of durability. The precast construction has gone to a level, and then it has not really come up the way it should have because of its inherent problems. Unfortunately, in Pakistan, it never took up. There were a few experiments. Unfortunately, all of them didn't do well, and people went back to the conventional ways of construction. And probably one of the reasons of going into these kind of construction is that they are probably we have cheap labor, and we would still like to have a labor intensive construction industry. Now the things are changing. we I know people who are working on 3D printers, and the 3D printers are going to print the buildings. This is happening at different parts of the world, where the cementitious material are being produced, and the 3D printers are being designed so that we can print buildings rather than constructing them. And this is not very far away. And when I say this is not very far away, I'm talking about a couple of years' time where there will be sizable 3D printers available in the country, either developed indigenously or imported, which will have the capability of producing or printing buildings. Now, 3D printing, and I don't see that the curriculum of teaching, the curriculum of civil engineering is going to change drastically. I could see that in very near future, we should add the programming in different languages to program 3D printers to print of designated thickness and sizes of the buildings that we are interested in. So, I could see here that when the students are studying the construction management side in the BIM courses, there will be a lot of artificial intelligence that has to be taught so that it can be implemented into the building information system. And that is the planning aspect. When it comes to construction, we will be teaching students programming 3D printers so that the 3D printing could take place. Similarly, there is a concept of smart cities and safe cities where high-speed internet is needed, and an information has to to be fed into the database about the performance, about the ambient temperature, about the humidity, all sorts of information apart from the safety and security, which is going to affect the health or which is going to help us maintain the data of the deterioration or the health of the building materials that we have used. And this is also going to improve our way of doing things and the quality of life which is there. Uh, now, in order to do all these things, one of the most important aspect are the senses. And the sensors are going to come in, and we have to develop human capital so that we have developed sensors which can be placed at different locations extensively in the buildings to provide us the data that we need. At the same time, we have to have the capacity to produce cheap sensors. If we don't do that, the cost of construction will go up, and obviously this is not something that we want. So this is another disruption that we need to work on. And then I can go on and on about the application of IoT, which is I've already told, the smart cities and all those things. It is nothing but Internet of Things. Uh, and with the 5 and 6G coming up, I'm sure that the kind of things that we cannot even imagine doing it today, we'll be doing it tomorrow. With the availability of 5 and 6G networks, I'm sure the data transfer will be smooth. And then comes the part of an effective implementation of virtual reality into mixed reality into immersed reality. And that actually, I keep on thinking of my I'm not early childhood, but my younger days when there was a program on television called Star Trek. And they would beam up people and beam down people like this. And this immersive technology is going to help us do that. The people are not there, but yet you can see them in the classrooms. And this is where we can help that kind of technology to develop so that the training can take place in any area that we want. And it could be in civil engineering, it could be construction management, it could be water resource engineering, or it could be any other field. But I'm just coming to the conclusion of my thing. But the most important thing that we must realize that the human capital must be available to implement them. And when I say the human capital, there are two important things about human capital that we must keep in mind. Number one, the quality of human capital that you are producing. Because at times you provide certain information to the student and the human capital, which is just information, which is not knowledge. And the you cannot implement information. Only way to implement new ideas is that you have the knowledge to do it. You have the skills to do it. So human capital becomes very, very important. The quality of human capital becomes very, very important. The second thing is that you have to have a critical mass. You have to have enough number of people believing in that direction and then changing the direction to what we now call it disruptive technology, which in my opinion, are the technologies of the future. So they're not disrupting us, they're actually telling us how to do things in a better manner. So, and if you look at any country in the world, if you look at the economic revival of these countries or economic strength and growth of these countries, they are only and only because of the good quality human resource. If you take the look at the example of China, the largest country in the world population-wise, and you compare it with Singapore, one of the smallest country in the world uh, population-wise, which doesn't produce anything at all. But the common thing are the strong economies. Both of countries have got very strong economies. And the reason, in my humble opinion, is they have the good quality human resource and there is enough critical mass to sustain it. And that is what we have to develop in this country. That if we are interested in implementing these disruptive technologies in construction industry in Pakistan, I could see tremendous advantages of automation, of quality, sustainability, and effectiveness and quick construction, provided we have the good quality human resource and a large number of people to implement it. And this is where the responsibility of the think tank comes in. We must advise the government, the focus must be there. The universities, the institutions, the think tanks must provide tangible implementation program. You know, there can be a million of ideas, but the ideas don't change things. It's the plan to implement the idea which changes things. And we have to work on a definite plan of embedding disruptive technology into construction with an objective that I've mentioned. I won't repeat it again. So with this, I'm so thankful to you once again for providing me with this opportunity to provide a few opening remarks. And since I had 20 minutes, I've already taken, I think, 17 minutes, and I'll stop here. Thank you very much.
Dr. Lodi, thank you, sir. Wonderful talk you have given, as usual. And you are the way you express your ideas are so, they have that clarity along with passion. So wonderful, sir. You talked things like you talked about previous century that we had disruptive technology, which was calculator. And I'm also, one of those. The technology, this calculator was very fascinating. And anybody having a technology was somebody having something very innovative, very technologically advanced thing. That was also time. And you said that computer, that small chip has made those things possible which were unimaginable. You remember that we used to see those movies of Star Trek and science fiction, and those science fiction movies when we were children, those have become reality now. So that's how the life and then internet and Wi-Fi has transformed. You talked about construction industry, that it is the biggest catalyst to resuscitation of economy. This is the importance. And you said that artificial intelligence and algorithms are tools for decision making. They will facilitate decision making, proper decision making. Then the curriculum of civil engineering is going to change significantly. Those are to change. We talked about smart cities and safe cities, and your parting comment was about the human capital, a typical from an academician, that human resource. Yes, human resource is everything. I remember asking a question from a very accomplished entrepreneur from USA. I said, what are the three things which make a company great? He said, sir, first is HR, second is HR, and third is HR. If you have the proper human resource, they can make wonders happen. Thank you, sir, for your very elaborate talk. And now I would request Dr. Farooq Arif. He's going to speak on application of smart and immersive technologies for construction projects. Dr. Farooq, floor is yours, please. Dr. Farooq, I can't see. आपको डॉक्टर फरूख मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
Sir, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much. Let me start with thanking IIPS for providing me with this opportunity to basically talk about the topic, which is disruptive technologies, and then also showcase some of the work that has been done at NED University with specific reference to what actually Dr. Lodi talked about. In fact, if I may take this opportunity to say that 90% of my presentation is already done, because Dr. Lodi, without anything, have explained what actually we have been working on, and that exactly aligns with the concepts and developments in the disruptive technology. So let me share just So when we talk about disrupt, this is a small brief outline of what I'm going to discuss today. I'm not here to teach, of course, because I assume that much of our audience would be pretty much aware of what we mean by disruptive technologies. But then I specifically focus on my title, which are smart and immersive technologies in case of disruptive technologies and their scope or future dimensions in construction industry of Pakistan. Primarily, what I'm going to discuss is all those things which we have already done or are under development through different R&D projects and through different industrial projects. So I will briefly talk about disruptive technologies, then smart technologies, and then few case studies that we have conducted with respect to application of smart technologies, immersive technologies and its application, and a little bit of framework guidelines, majority of which what Dr. Lodi and General Arun have discussed in their introduction, and Dr. Lodi in his talk. So when we talk about disruptive technology, actually this idea is driven out of disruptive innovation. And this disruptive innovation idea was put forward by a system designer, Clayton Kinston, if I'm pronouncing his name. And he basically focused that any innovation that disrupts your normal routine, normal working, the normal way of working of any organization or any profession would basically be termed as disruptive innovation. So that would result in change, and of course that change has to be adapted and adopted by that industry for the benefit. Now it's not just for the innovation for the sake of innovation, rather the innovation that basically benefits the industry's consumers, the industry itself, and the supplementary, or what we may call as the sister businesses that operate with respect to that particular industry. For example, in case of construction, so there are a rough estimate is that around 45 to 50 different industries basically depend upon the construction industry. And hence anything that becomes disruptive in the construction industry for positive sense would also disrupt the normal business routine of the sister organizations or sister industries. A disruptive technology, of course, would try to sweep away any habits, any existing system that might have been there for a longer period of time. And hence, it requires a more educated, more R&D related effort to incorporate such technologies into normal businesses or normal routine business. Because as the word reflects disruptive, so you are disrupting the SOPs, the modus operandi that have been there for a longer period of time. So human resource, the equipment requirement, maybe the technological requirements may require a overhaul in any business requirement. Now, when we say that, so it might sound that it would be very costly. That is not the case with the invent of the computer, as Dr. Lodi was explaining, because nowadays it's not very, these technologies which like computing technologies, like they are becoming cheaper and cheaper, and hence and also accessible, and hence that has made sure that even a startup, small startups with limited resources can get into this disruptive technology business by inventing an entirely new way of something to be done. That is why in recent past, the entrepreneurial funds have also been focusing on entirely new innovations, whether it be small, but their impact area should be larger. Say, for example, a lot of innovation that have been done in construction and other industries, like these cloud-based mechanisms, these carpooling companies which we have, and likewise property dealing companies, they base their businesses on disruptive technologies, but those technologies that are not very costly to implement because of the advent of the computer, and also because of the accessibility to such technologies. Now, that has resulted in revolutionary changes in the market. And that is why we see the rise of ICT and the use of ICT in general, and in particular, the sharing-based mechanisms all around the world, whether be it construction industry or any other industry. Sharing, by sharing, I mean sharing information, of course. So typically, the disruptive technologies, if we relate those to construction industry, the ones that are classified, there are 9, 10 different technologies which are classified as being disruptive technologies for construction industry, starting with the 3D printing, virtual reality, robotics and automation, artificial intelligence, because whatever data you collect, you need to process it to minimize the errors. So artificial intelligence, machine learning, use of drones or UAVs, unmanned aerial systems, or aerial vehicles, 5G technology, which is at the doorstep of, which is already incorporated in many countries who have developed it advancedly, like US, China, but it would be at our doorstep. It's almost at our doorsteps as well. Cybersecurity development. So when you work in IoT, when you work in ICT, so a lot of cybersecurity issues also arise. And hence, to cope up with those issues, there have been significant development in cybersecurity as well. Augmented reality and IoT applications, as I discussed. So these 9 technologies are typically classified or categorized as being the disruptive technologies when it comes to construction business or construction industry. Now, when we specifically talk about smart technologies, which is one part of my presentation today. So smart, the word smart is typically termed as self-monitoring, analysis, and reporting technology. So anything that ensures kind of self-monitoring, any technology rather that ensures self-monitoring, that enables analysis by the data that is collected through that self-monitoring, and also report, and even further, to further extent, when you integrate that to artificial intelligence, providing you with the solutions, would be termed as a smart technology. Typically, smart technology, as I said, utilize artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data analysis, or big data analytics to provide certain decision-making outputs, which we may call as cognitive outputs, so that your history of working, your way of working could be integrated with the best possible manner. That is technological benchmarking or data benchmarking, and can result in better solutions, error-free solutions, and error-free decision-making. Examples of a smart technology, typically when we relate it to construction, would include IoT, smart connected devices, and smart devices. And all of these have been and are being utilized to a certain extent in construction industries around the world, which we may term as the developed construction industries. Even in our country or in developing construction industries, there have been certain applications. But of course, the full-fledged understanding and awareness and human resource requirement have been something which have been compromised over the years. And that is why forums like these may generate awareness and may create such rolling ball and effect that can result in further development in this area in our country. Now, smart technologies, basically the application side, which we typically see are smart cities, IoT-based, sensor-based concepts. These actually are from our own project, sensor-based data for energy efficiency. I would explain it a little bit. And also, as we said, for smart monitoring of the sites, for smart monitoring of the construction process through UAVs and through cameras and etc. Now, it's not about just getting the videos out of that camera, but also to process that data. And that is what I'm going to discuss with a couple of examples that I'm going to discuss in future slides. Now, let us go through the first case study. And actually, this is one of our projects. This is also already published work, in which basically we developed smart progress monitoring of building construction elements using an integration of videography, MATLAB for data processing, of course, for training of data, and BIM, building information modeling integration. Now, the very concept was that although there are different technologies which are available for smart monitoring, like laser scanning, like drones, but sometimes these technologies may have a wider cost impact on the construction companies, and hence they may refrain from adapting such a change. It's not about that typically industry or the professionals might not be open to such change, but when it comes down to the adaptation of such technologies and its cost side, and of course its human resource capability development side, they may refrain it from, and they might be looking for either going through the traditional ways, or they might look for some kind of low cost mechanisms, because it is very important that when you introduce disruptive technologies into any industry, specifically in developing countries and developing industries like Pakistan, the cost is one of the biggest arguments to justify the acquiring or development of a technology and then implementing it on a construction site directly relates to business profits, directly relates to competitiveness of business in our industry, which is typically a competitive bidding based industry. So that is why in any such innovation, the R&D people have to ensure that such technologies are developed, number one, using already available tools, which may not have been used for smartness. And then secondly, they remain cost effective. So keeping in mind that what happened is that, what happens is that we basically utilize videography data to analyze, and this small video clip would explain that we install site monitoring cameras on sites. Then you can get the CCTV footage of that and also transform that video through the Wi-Fi, which is provided on the site, which is not any scarce commodity anymore. And that video is basically processed through the MATLAB interface, which we have coded ourselves, where image processing happens. The image processing can give us face detection as well as progress reporting for whatever has been done so far at the site as compared to what we had planned. So in a nutshell, the integrated framework works like this, that the camera provides the feed, the feeds are transformed to our workstations at a lab, and then those feeds are processed through the MATLAB integration to provide our progressive reports as well as face detection of what has happened. So it provides a better visualization, better progress monitoring. So if we move on, for example, this is a case that we implemented at one of the academic buildings at NED University. So we worked with a single camera. This is a simple IP camera, which is available like at very cheap cost, maybe between 3,000 to 5,000 rupees, even cheaper. And this, when it is installed, that 360 camera on the site, this is the location of the site. So you have to calibrate the site, of course. You have to calibrate it for the elements that are to be monitored. We basically monitored 3 elements that included the vertical member, that is column, beams, and block masonry. We call them as bulk activities. So the camera is installed, the calibration for the camera and its pixel is done, and then accordingly, if you look at the plan, so this is the whole building plan, we marked and we calibrated the grids with already developed as planned BIM model. Now, once it is developed, then this MATLAB interface is designed where the live feed could be incorporated, and live feed comes in the form of either you can take a picture of it or you can utilize a video, and accordingly that live feed automatically starts giving us phase detection in the form of colors. So yellow, blue, and green basically reflect different elements such as formwork with respect to its color coding and concreting that has been done. So it provides a visualization. But the more important point is that we can analyze this data set by drawing different. So this, for example, picture is converted into grayscale mode. Then we basically select our region of interest. That region of interest is isolated in the analyzer from the picture that has been got through the feed, and it gives us the quantity. It gives us with respect to the calibration of how much quantity of work has been done. Then, because we have already have an as planned model in building information modeling platform, we can compare what was planned with what has actually been done on the site. Now, this provides us as planned versus as built volumes and accordingly percentage of work that has been completed. Now, what is the advantage of this whole system is that when we take it through the video cameras live feed through this IP protocol, then there are lesser chances of getting it erroneous data, because when we get it through human resource, they might have errors, they might compromise on the measurements, and hence the actual progress might not have been reported. Secondly, it is kind of a field and head office integrated framework, which will provide us greater flexibility in monitoring a site as well. The data collected through this camera is an evidence-based data, so it would reduce any, or it would avoid any conflicts that may arise in the billing phase of the project. And accordingly, when we are monitoring the site, so there are multiple other analysis that we might be able to do. So data collection and error-free data collection is the key to this technology. Another point is that sometimes we hinder because of human resource availability or human resource capacity to incorporate any technology into our environment. So another idea was to progress monitor with whatever resources, human resource available at the site. So a simple, all of us know that surveyor is present on the site. So the idea was that how can we do the productivity tracking of any construction work? So what we did was that we thought of utilizing the already available surveyor on the site and the normal total station, which could give us geodetic points, and those points could be utilized through building phase surveys and could be utilized for developing as-built data-driven models in building information modeling environment. So again, this study was implemented at our Business Incubation Center when it was under construction a couple of years ago. And what we did, that this whole framework was applied onto that building. Now, the as-planned model in BIM, whether it be structural, whether it be architecture, was developed. And then a normal total station was used to perform building phase survey, through which the geodetic coordinates were gathered, through which the CSV files were gathered. And these files were uploaded to the cloud from the site, which is not any issue nowadays with Wi-Fi technology. That cloud, basically then the cloud-based data was programmed for developing or generating data-driven as-built models in through Python programming, which is supported through different packages in building information modeling platforms. And hence, if you see, there are two progressive updates for columns, slabs, and block masonry, again, the bulk activities for the building. You can see that these progressive updates provide you the as-built model in Revit using the surveyed data, which was transformed through cloud. So survey cloud BIM integration, with the advent of this cloud technology, with the availability of this Wi-Fi technology, can very accurately transform raw survey data, which was just numbers which were just numbers few years ago, into a 3D model, into a data-driven 3D model. So this is, for example, a whole building, and accordingly, you can generate the whole building as planned model in 3D as well. And with that, the data could be analyzed for productivity tracking. These are certain productivity curves. According to, for example, this blue curve shows you the typical productivity data for the industry for concreting of slab. Now, according to our planning, the red line would show is showing us in the graph the productivity benchmark, and we can monitor the productivity data by taking the schedule of quantities from BIM for the data-driven models that have been generated and comparing it with the as-planned model, which was already there. So again, this technology would not require the companies, small to medium sized, specifically construction companies, to incorporate a lot of new things onto their sites and into their office. What they need is, yes, human resource training, but the simple surveyor who was there on the site now can provide you a lot of valuable data, which you can utilize for monitoring and progress of the construction project site. Now, advantages, as I already discussed, one of the things which I would like to mention very quickly is IoT based. We are working on a project which is funded through HEC as well, in which we are developing guidelines for energy efficient housing. Now, what we did was that we understood that it's not about just having the bill data, the energy bills data, electricity and water and gas to analyze that. The simulation is not enough as well. We need to incorporate the habits of the people who are living in that house. And for that reason, we basically designed certain sensors which can monitor different energy aspects, energy performance aspects of a house. And we incorporate these sensors into the house for a period of 15 days to 30 days, from where we get the live data set in the form of graphs and charts, and we analyze them and compare it with the simulation results. So it incorporates what we call as living lab concept, in which people are living somewhere. We are utilizing the IoT sensor base, which basically provides us the data set to the cloud, and we analyze that data to utilize it for better energy performance of a house. And it incorporates the habits specifically for those kind of buildings which are currently in use. So this is again one of very key areas of disruptive technology that could be applied in construction industry. Now, when we talk about immersive visualization, typically the categories of immersive visualization is anything in terms of illustration and diagrams, images, 3D images, which basically communicate something about that project, about that idea. So immersive visualization typically is classified into 4 categories of visualization generally: mixed reality, virtual reality, augmented reality, and immersive visualization. The place where I'm sitting in right now is basically NED University Virtual Reality Center. It's a first of its kind facility anywhere in South Asia, where we have multiple systems related to augmented reality, virtual reality, passive 3D visualization, virtual teaming, and drones, etc. So it's not just construction related, it is university level center, but we are working on a lot of construction related projects here. I'm heading this center, which was envisioned by Dr. Lodi way back, and we took a lot of time and we got it designed, we designed it to the optimum requirements, not for just current time, but for future time, say for 10, 15, 20 years from now on. And we are developing it through R&D, through different more technology development and procurement. When we talk about augmented reality, there are or immersive visualization, there are many applications. If you see all of these pictures are typically from our own projects, so it could be utilized for construction planning. Augmented reality is well utilized around the world by the architects for better visualization of the things, for cost planning, for infrastructure management and infrastructure visualization. Let me quickly go through what we have done. So this is one project that we did with an American company in which we integrated the drone-based data with the data set of laser scanning and integrated these visualization with the BIM model into virtual reality. Now, we presented it to MassDOT, who were basically, this project actually was in Connecticut. The whole framework was this. We worked with AI Engineers USA on this project. They basically took our help in developing the integrated visualization. The basic idea is that the drone-based data, the laser scanning data, and the building information modeling data provides us different dimensions to a infrastructure facility. And if we can integrate those into virtual reality, it can help us in better visualization, better as-built model generation, better decision making, and inspection in future as well. So what we did, for example, this was a Connecticut Waterbury bus storage area, which was almost 400,000 square feet area, 2-story facilities on 30 acres. And this, the whole building, the AI engineers were responsible for planning and monitoring and management of this project. So what we did was our partners utilized the drones. They are very well versed, and laser scanning data to generate different models. You see this drone video at the bottom, which is basically reflecting one of the flights. There are many routines in utilizing UAV-based data collection, and then laser scanning data was collected, and this is the laser scan model of the same facility. You can see the accuracy of laser scanning. Basically, sorry, this is UAV visualization, and I'll show you so this. A number of pics, a number of what we call as point cloud data was generated out of the UAV data collection, that is using the drones. Thereafter, the laser scanning was performed mainly to look for the inside of the building or the detailed features of the building, and this is the laser scan data model for that very facility. After this, we have the data set for in terms of drawings for the as-planned model. So we developed the BIM model as well. So the BIM model, basically, as-planned model was developed. Now we had 3 data sets: BIM-based data visualization, UAV-based data visualization, and laser scanning-based data visualization. Laser scanning is very good for as-built.
Short rakhega, please.
Sir, I'll just finish in 30 seconds, 1 minute.
Okay.
So what we did was we were able to integrate it into for integrated visualization as well as decision. This is the screen recording, of course, of one of the session. I wish I could have shown you it in virtual reality or augmented reality. But you can see that the measurements could be done of the site. The outside of the site was UAV-based data set, and decisions could be made in this model in virtual reality. So at the moment, for example, 2 personnel were integrated and talking about different decision parameters and measuring. Another thing was that we utilized virtual reality for capacity building, which was main point for engineers. So what we did was we developed this NEPA bridge, very famous in Karachi, at NEPA Chaurangi. We developed its model in virtual reality and 3D model. We developed as a build model, and as well as we developed certain cracks and physical deterioration parameters for training purpose of the engineers. Once the model was developed, it was geodatically placed in the area of NEPA, utilizing the Google images, utilizing the GIS. And then after the model it was tested on number of engineers through test sessions, and you see that the data was analyzed for their comfort level. Overall, the feeling of the system, the use of the VR gadgets, the overall comfort in visualization was rated very high by the engineers in that sense, that this technology, which is virtual reality, could provide decision makers with a better visualization for infrastructure management, infrastructure decision making. Finally, very quickly, and I don't need to stress on this, what we need to do is the keywords. We need to incorporate capacity building for having disruptive technologies incorporated into construction industry. We need indigenous solutions. We cannot just adopt solutions from outside. We need to develop indigenous solutions which are cost effective, which could be implemented using limited resources. We need R&D investments, which was highlighted by General Haroon, that sometimes we refrain from having substantial amount of R&D investments. Generally speaking, we need to have certain linkage in industry academy, in which industry becomes a solution seeker while academia becomes solution provider, because R&D environment is, of course, everybody would understand that there are more opportunities for R&D in the academia. Adaptability towards the innovation and disruptive innovation should be increased through awareness sessions like these. And finally, curriculum update, Dr. Lodi already talked about it, but finally, I would stress on one important point, that when it comes to policy implementation, knowledgeable, open-minded, open-hearted, innovative, and R&D oriented minds should also be incorporated into explicit roles of decision makers, whether it be positioned at the policy making organizations or whether it be some regulatory agencies. And that is where we need to, because at the end of the day, incorporating a technology into an industry would require regulatory changes, would require policy decisions. And for that, we need to have right people in the right positions. My apologies for taking a little bit of more time. Thank you very much. I'll be open to any questions later.
Thank you very much, Dr. A very comprehensive presentation, and particularly your case studies. You talked about self-monitoring, analysis, and reporting technology. Frankly, I didn't know. I thought smart means just a smart as an English word. So this is a knowledge to a layman like myself. And you talked about the case study of smart progress monitoring using videography, MATLAB, and BIM integration. And you have covered real-time productivity monitoring, energy efficient assessment, and your high point was the proposed policy framework. And we will include this in our report, which will go at the appropriate level, inshallah. And but the key point of your presentation, which touched my heart, was that you require people with technical knowledge, but with open minds and hearts. So this is the connectivity of your technological knowledge and with hearts and minds also. Wonderful, sir. Sir, without wasting any time, now I would request Mr. Arsalan Javed. He talked about relevance of disruptive technologies for real estate development. Arsalan, floor is yours, please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much, General Haroon and Iqbal Institute of Policy Studies for having such initiatives and giving me the chance to speak from this platform. And your energy and your passion is an inspiration for me. Dr. Sarosh, it was a pleasure hearing your wisdom. And Dr. Farooq, I think you guys are working on very interesting technologies, and I would love to connect with you in the future. So let me just share my screen. So I'm going to talk about some disruptive technologies in real estate development sector and how they will evolve in the coming future. So first of all, disruptive technology sounds like a negative term, but actually it's a positive term. It means that for the general audience, it means that a technology that completely changes some standard status quo and brings in a new way of introduces a new way of doing things. So that is a disruptive technology. A good example is how Uber completely disrupted the taxi industry. And another good example is how Airbnb disrupted the hoteling industry. So this is what disruptive technology means. To talk about technology and how it would evolve in the future, if we all understand Moore's law, it was stated by Gordon Moore, who is a famous computer scientist back in 1965. He's also the co-founder of Intel. He stated that the number of transistors in a chip doubles every 2 years, almost every 2 years. So the law has held true for the past 50 years, and we can easily assume that it will continue to do so in the coming decades. So here's a visual representation of this law. If you look at the micro SD card from back in 2005, it held 128 MBs of space, and 10 years later, it went up 1,000 times to 128 GBs in the same size. Here's another depiction of Moore's law. This is from a game series, Lara Croft Tomb Raider, that started back in late 90s. On the left, you can see a very low poly, a very rough model of the protagonist of the game. And if you move 20 years ahead to the rightmost image, you can see how it's a lot more realistic. The hair are, each hair is a separate line, and the texture is a lot more detailed. So this is another visualization of Moore's law. Here's another one. We have all experienced this one, how the mobile phone has evolved over the years. So Moore's law, basically, it can be used to understand how technology is advancing and what speed it is advancing at. It's basically an exponential curve. Things are getting better, faster and faster. It's accelerating. So I'd like to touch upon two technologies that our teams are working on. Firstly, I'll talk about virtual reality. And secondly, I'll touch upon artificial intelligence and how it can be used in real estate. So if you're from a construction background, you have most likely come across situations like these, like the staircase leading to nowhere, or that lamppost going through the balconies. So according to Phil Bernstein, who is the vice president of Autodesk, out of every dollar spent on construction, 35 cents are wasted due to such blunders. And one of the main reasons for such blunders is poor collaboration between multiple teams, like the architects, the construction teams, the MEP team. Due to poor collaboration between them, we end up wasting a lot of money. So virtual reality can help solve that. We have been using virtual reality to visualize construction projects and show it to potential clients. So visualization has been going on for a while, but now, as Moore's law stated, technology is getting better and better. The hardware will keep getting smaller and easier to use, less bulky. Here's a depiction of how the hardware will evolve, how the virtual reality headset will evolve in the coming decades. As you can see in the middle, on the left is our current situation. In the middle, you can see a lot slick glasses that you can put on. And on the right, around 2030, we should have VR devices that are as slick as the glasses that I'm wearing. So what these will allow us to immersively collaborate with multiple teams. Multiple teams will be able to collaborate in a virtual environment through virtual reality. They'll be connected through 5G, 6G, very fast internets, and they'll be able to communicate real time, and they'll be able to make changes to their plans in real time, and they'll be able to all communicate them together and show it to the developer and show it to them how it's going to look like when it's done. And this will help avoid most of the wastage that we come across in the construction industry. The second thing I'm going to touch upon is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence has many applications in real estate and real estate development. We are working on, my team and in National Science and Technology Park at our innovation lab is working on multiple applications. One of these applications can be generative design. It has the potential to completely disrupt how we design and plan our buildings and our master plans, how we work on them. So if a software is able to generate thousands of iterations of building plans or master plan designs based on an input of requirements and some constraints. So our machine learning algorithms will be able to generate multiple iterations of designs that an architect will be able to shortlist and finalize from and work upon that. It won't, the architects won't lose their jobs, not anytime sooner, but this technology will surely assist them and speed up the designing process. So here's an example of generative design. So these are some master plans generated by a machine learning algorithm based on certain different inputs given to it. Different floor area ratios produced different results. Here's another example. This is from the headquarters of Autodesk in Toronto. So they used generative design to actually plan out their head office, and this is what it looked like. So with less than 0.5% of planned areas and in Pakistan, so designing and planning is a critical need of the hour for Pakistan. And I would emphasize that we as Pakistanis should invest more and more on technology. We should invest more in education of technology, and we should embrace technology so we can stay abreast with the rest of the world. Thank you, sir. Sir, I'm done with the presentation.
Aslan, thank you very much. I was not expecting such a short presentation, but though your presentation is short, but it is quite loaded and informative. When we'll revisit your presentation, there are a few questions also coming in. So you talked about, firstly, you defined the disruptive technology. I was just, before we went on air, I was discussing with my colleagues that just about 4 or 5 months back, somebody talked about disruptive technology. So with a soldier's background, I thought it means that we are going to disrupt everything. And it is a negative term. But obviously, it is a positive term, and it is going to, bring revolutionary changes. You talked about Moore's law, and then about the wastage. Yes, we in Pakistan are master in wastage of things, even wastage of time, not only construction material, wastage of time also. You talked about artificial intelligence, generative design. One thing I would like to emphasize here is that we in Iqbal Institute of Policy Studies, we facilitate connectivity also through webinars. We have seen that we had set of professionals from varying fields, and then they got connected with each other, and they are communicating well. So this is one aspect of webinars. Thank you very much, Aslan. We'll get back to you. Now, I would request Dr. Asad Naim. He's going to talk about application of energy dissipation technology in the construction industry. Floor is yours, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, General Saab, and it was amazing presentation by all the distinguished speakers, and thank you for providing me the opportunity also to speak on technology that is not, I would say, a little bit disruptive, but it's a oblivious or neglected technology which is not being implemented in Pakistan, which I saw outside and abroad, that how they are implementing these technologies. Let me just share the. Can you see my presentation? Okay.
Yes. Now it is coming up. Yes, it is up there. Yes, thank you.
All the distinguished professors, Professor Lodi, Professor Dr. Farooq Saab, they are all very honorable for me because they are also from civil engineering department. I have read their papers. I have followed their work also. So I will talk about the energy dissipation devices in construction industry, especially in high-rise, because I am focused on currently I'm working on the ductility demand in the 3D printed structures. However, I will talk more about the core engineering, which is about the application of the dampers in the high-rise structures or earthquake engineering in the field of earthquake engineering. So this will be my contents, introduction, a little bit introduction, definitely why dampers and cost benefit solutions, and different types of dampers which are available in engineering. So earthquake, as we know, every decade or so cause a huge economic and human loss. In Pakistan, especially in 2005, 2008, earthquake has caused a huge loss of human resource, and also $1 trillion was lost in due to the collapse of the building structures. So there is a kind of technology that is being developed since 2 decades in US, in Japan, in Korea, in countries where there are a lot of earthquakes, but we have not. I believe that हमारी कंस्ट्रक्शन इंडस्ट्री में हम लोगों ने अभी तक डिजाइन कोड्स को भी सही तरीके से फॉलो करना सही शुरू नहीं किया. But design codes we have adopted from the abroad, we have not even following that. So, but there is a need to develop new technologies also to incorporate in these building structures so that they are safe to earthquakes, to wind, to other kind of natural catastrophes that happen in Pakistan. Because Pakistan is one of the catastrophic prone region, जहाँ drought भी आता है, floods भी आ रहे हैं, और different regions में हमारे पास droughts भी हैं. We have to come up with the innovative solutions. So basically, what is seismic retrofitting? या हम लोग energy dissipation devices इस्तेमाल क्यों करते हैं to increase the strength of first of all, this can be utilized in existing and new structures. It increase the strength of the structure, it increase the ductility, or and finally these energy dissipation devices helps to dissipate the energy. ये ऐसी devices होती हैं जो they act as a fuse in the building structures. इसकी वजह से हमारे पास जो building के sections हैं या cross sections हैं वो कम हो सकते हैं, and we can go for performance based design. हम लोग को पता लग सकता है कि हमारी बिल्डिंग कोलैप्स कब होगी, हमारी बिल्डिंग में कितनी एनर्जी है, या ये हमारी एनर्जी कितनी डिसिपेट कर सकती है, और उसके अंदर हम लोग ऐसे क्रिटिकल पॉइंट्स पे ये डैम्पर्स इंप्लीमेंट इंस्टॉल कर देते हैं, जिसकी वजह से जो उनके मेन स्ट्रक्चरल कंपोनेंट हैं, मेन स्ट्रक्चरल जो बीम्स, कॉलम, शियर, वॉल्स, फाउंडेशन हैं, वो safe and these energy dissipation devices dissipate the energy which is pumped into the structure due to earthquake or wind forces or any blast loading, and there are the different dampers which we talk about. So first of all, there are two different you can say technique. One is classical technique, which is to add the strength into the building structure, and second one is to provide the damping for the building structures, damping solution. In first, which is quite a bit old structure in which we use concrete jacketing, adding shear walls to the structure, it increases the period of the structure, which also what you can say attracts more forces from the earthquake. So there is an innovative solution in which we provide different dampers. Dampers do not increase the period of the structure, however they dissipate the energy that is being induced into the structure. So they are another technology. So this is what I was talking about, that if we strengthen the structure, it can increase the period of the structure, and it can attract, or the more responses attracted to the building structure. However, if we incorporate or install the dampers into the structure, it will provide the damping in the structure rather than increasing the period, and it can reduce the demand, reduce the response of the structure. And in this situation, we can have much more economical beam and column sections, much more economical foundations, and it can be utilized for higher structures and mid-rise structures. There are different solutions which are available in the market, like steel braces, carbon fibers, and structure walls for strengthening solution. And then there are different solutions for damping also, base isolators, dampers, TMD, tune mass dampers, and application of different other metallic dampers also. Cost benefit construction, dampers are mostly non-intrusive in construction. I mean, you can easily implement into the already built structures, or you can also design the new structures with the dampers. जो buildings already operational हैं, उसमें हम लोग we can easily incorporate these dampers. हम लोग उसके operation को building can retain its operation, or easily it can be incorporated in the building structure. Different parts में install कर सकते हैं, rather than जो हमारे पास अगर shear wall या column jacketing जब strengthening की तरफ जाते हैं हम लोग, we have to they are very I mean say building के operations definitely disturb होते हैं, and it cause बहुत तोड़-फोड़ करनी पड़ती है building में. So dampers can be easily incorporated in many different critical part of the system, and they are much more easier to design. और strengthening में हम लोग को most probably उस तरह के exact analysis के लिए हम लोग के पास tools तो हैं, but they do not provide the exact solution. Secondly, performance-wise, we definitely, as I've told you, they do not increase the period of the structure. They do not attract much more demand, and they can reduce the story drift, acceleration, and protect the structural components also. And after a major earthquake, the building will still be operational in case of application of the dampers. So there are different types of dampers available in the market, like friction damper, viscous damper, hybrid dampers are also being developed currently and being implemented in different buildings abroad. But these solutions should also be, studied, and these solutions should also be incorporated in Pakistan industry, because in Pakistan we still most of the construction is still on old logic that if the building is more strength or stiffer, it is much more safer. But I think so it's not the case anymore. We have much more advanced tools to design, to know the performance of the structure in the different field also. So first of all, base isolators. Base isolators are basically which decouples the structure जो building के नीचे foundations में लग जाते हैं, and building can move with respect to its foundation. I mean जमीन पे अगर earthquake आता है तो ये building it will move. इसके बस major drawback क्या होगा कि the displacement will be large, but जो energy है वो जमीन में ही रह जाएगी. It will not be completely induced into the structure. The building will move, but the main structural component will remain same. But one constant is that it is large relative displacement of the superstructure rather than supporting structures. So this is one of the technology that is being also implemented in bridges and different building structures. Maybe apply to this is the and there are different lead rubber bearing है जिसमें hysteretic damping भी होती है, and then we have also some kind of friction or sliding bearings which are also being used in bridges. Also, they can also dissipate energy, and they can also provide the self-centering of the building structures. These are the different applications of the base isolators. And secondly, we have viscous dampers. They are like shock absorbers. They can be easily installed into the building structure, and they basically dissipate energy because of the fluid absorb the energy. I am using a lot more technical terms, I hope, but these are the new technology that is being implemented in high-rise structures and different buildings in US or Japan. So these are the application of the viscous dampers. And this is the school that we retrofitted in Korea using the viscous damper. It's basically reverse toggle frames, and we applied the viscous dampers in different parts of the critical parts of the structure. And then we analyzed the structure first of all, and then we designed these dampers accordingly and implemented the viscous dampers. This is also one of the case studies that we did using the Tyler devices. And then we have viscous damping walls or large wall panels, which can be implemented in the high-rise structures. They also dissipate energy, and they also act as a shear wall in case of a severe earthquake also. So this is also one of the technology. Then we have viscoelastic damper, which we have different, there are different plates with elastic material in them, and then they with relative to they are rate dependent or they are velocity dependent dampers, and which dissipate energy due to the relative movement. They are implemented in different structures. They were also implemented in the World Trade Center, which was destroyed due to the 9/11. And then we have a very cheap and very easy to construct damper, which is called friction damper. They are different steel plates with different friction discs available, and they can dissipate energy due to the friction between the steel plates and different materials due to revolving or due to sliding of the plates, and they can be easily constructed in Pakistan. And I think so they should be used. This is also the sleed or friction or sliding dampers, slotted bolted connection, and they dissipate the energy during the sliding of the friction dampers. And these are the different application of the friction damper. They are large friction damper, about 1,500 to 5,000 kilonewton friction damper, which is a huge force, and they are being implemented in Japan, Osaka. And this is large 5,000 kilonewton friction damper, which is used. These are other friction dampers, and these are the friction dampers being utilized in small structures also. Then we have metallic dampers, hysteretic dampers. They dissipate the energy due to the yielding of the dampers. And they are also very easy to construct, and they are also cost-effective solution for retrofitting of the old building structures and also implementing into the new structures. And these are different buckling restraint braces are being implemented. We are also currently developing the lightweight buckling restraint brace to install into the building structures. They are steel cores with the concrete cover on them, and then we have a steel section, steel cover on them. They dissipate the energy in both tension and compression also. This is the energy dissipation for the single brace, and the lower one is the energy dissipation for the buckling restraint brace. And these are the applications of the buckling restraint brace being installed in the RC structures and also the steel structures. These are the connection details. And finally, we have tuned mass dampers. This is a large mass which is somewhat decrease the energy, or it takes the energy from the earthquake and protects the main building structures. It is being installed in different structures. High-rise structures basically are used this kind of damping technology. They dampen the frequency of the that the building can have, and work as out phase of frequency in the building, high-rise building structures. So they are also being implemented in Type A 101 and different building structures in US. And then we have all this. This can also work as a liquid mass dampers or liquid tuned mass dampers, in which we use the water to dissipate the energy. And currently I've developed a new damping system, which is a hybrid damping system. It do not only dissipate the energy, it protects the structure, and it also recenter the building structure after an earthquake. It is called cable system. We have different viscous damper connected with the pre-tensioned cables, and it recenters the building structure. This is a school study that we have implemented, and it shows that the residual displacement in the damped cable system retrofit structure is almost negligible as compared to the viscous damper or the non-retrofitted structures. This is also the time histories that shows the very less residual displacement is being, they have the very less residual displacement. This is the actually test that we perform. This is not retrofitted, unretrofitted structures, and we can see the displacement that is quite larger in case of, and this is with the dampers and damped cable system. We can see the relative displacement of the floors are very smaller as compared to the non-retrofitted structures. So thank you. These are my publications. Thank you for providing me the floor. I will be available for the questions.
Thank you, Dr. A wonderful presentation. You talked about seismic retrofit and your elaborate presentation on dampers. So I understand that dampers are itself a disruptive technology. Sorry, I thought you are done with your presentation. You are continuing?
Yes. I'm done with my presentation. I will just stop here. Okay. I'm done. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You are done with your presentation, I believe. आपकी presentation खत्म हो गई?
Yes. खत्म हो गई. Thank you.
आपने बात की थी ये seismic retrofit की, and you talked about dampers, the various kind of dampers and how these are used in retrofit and new buildings. मेरे ज़हन में एक question आ रहा है, are these dampers currently being used somewhere in Pakistan, or it is absolutely a disruptive technology which is yet to be introduced?
Sir, I believe they're very less. I mean, I'm not sure whether they are being used somewhere in Pakistan, but it's not a very new or a new technology. It's being used about 1 or 2 decades in Japan and US, but it's not being used currently in Pakistan. I mean, if we use the performance-based design, we can utilize these kind of technologies to have more high-rise structures, more safer structures, and we can also retrofit the old structures which are not being built on the seismic design. So these technologies can help to boom the economy, to protect the structures, because the uncertainty of earthquake and they can cause a huge, you can say, economic and human loss. So by introducing such kind of technologies, dampers into the building structures, and structural health monitoring can also, they are also a kind of a, you can say, piece in this construction industry that we should look for.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Farooq. We have a few questions trickling in now, and I would seek the attention of everyone. But Dr. Farooq, are you there with us? Dr. Farooq? There is
yes.
Yeah. Somebody has approached us that if you could flash your slide for proposed policy framework again, and just take about 2-3 minutes to explain those.
Okay, just so give me a second and I can.
One comment from Dr. Asad was that he said that I hope you are following the technical terms. For a non-technical person like me, I would just leave an advice with people of my kind who are non-technical, that please don't shy away, because most of our decision makers are non-technical people. One, that they should involve and learn, even if they follow 20% of the presentation, they will be able to communicate that much better. Yes, please, Dr. Farooq.
Okay, sir. Actually, I would say that these are certain things which should be included if a policy has to be developed to incorporate disruptive innovation or innovation in general into construction industry. These are based on our own learnings through our different projects, that if we develop a technology and we want to incorporate that into the industry, so what are the bottlenecks? What are the requirements that are needed to be incorporated for that implementation? Number one, as I said, was capacity building. So when we talk about capacity building, it is more related to technology as well as human resource. I would emphasize human resource capacity development more because see, when the new technology is incorporated into any environment, there is a fear of losing the jobs. There is a fear of losing losing the bread and butter by many people who have been earning through conventional means. So it's not about the thing that in societies like ours, where we have a number of people looking for jobs, we totally replace them with technology. It is not possible and not advisable as well. At the end of the day, for countries like us, our human resources are our biggest strength. So it's more about developing their capacities and their vision towards new or disruptive technologies rather than replacing them with the technologies, and for the very fact with new personnel who can adopt those technologies. We have to develop our technological base as well as we have to incorporate the mindsets and change the mindsets in the human resource and their skill sets. So that is the first point. Second point is that whenever we talk about
we have lost the connection.
Am I clear? Or
I could hear and see him.
Dr. Farooq, kindly, there are chota.
Okay. Second thing is indigenous solution. We cannot
your
just
connection is unstable.
Am I clear now?
No, नहीं, आपका जो communication disrupt हो रहा है, internet unstable है. So मैं जरा question answer की तरफ जाऊँगा और आपको बाद में मैं आपसे पूछता हूँ. Right. We will revert back to you if we have time. मेरे पास अभी questions आ रहे हैं, and I'll seek the indulgence of all the participants. ये एक question है बड़ा interesting, और मैं डॉक्टर साहब, डॉक्टर सरोज लोधी सर, आपसे मैं इसका आंसर चाहूँगा. कहते हैं कि with so much technological input, where is the creativity of the human mind? Are we not losing aesthetics and human touch?
Not at all. Not at all. You know, whatever the tools that we develop remains under the control of humans. It is all up to us how much automation are we going to allow. So I don't think that whether it is artificial intelligence or any other thing will go beyond human control or would lose the human touch. As in one of the slides which Arsalan Javed has shown, the progressive improvement in the image of that game that he was showing, that's what's going to happen. From a purely virtual image, which is artificial, we are moving towards a more improved version. And with the time, it's going to improve further. So it's actually going to add a lot of human touch. I don't see it happening. I don't even see people losing their jobs also, because there will be a lot of new jobs created. So I'm afraid, yes, there is a fear that it might happen, but I think it's rather a fear of unknown than actually reality.
Thank you. Anyone would like to say something on this? New generation view.
So can I say a few words on this question also?
Sure.
Sir, I mean, Dr. Lodi have answered very, amazing in a very better way. I also believe that we should never be afraid of unknown. I mean, we should be thinking of other planets, and we should be thinking of implementing these technologies to other planets. We should be planetary species rather than thinking of just only this, planet. So I believe we should venture into many different things, and I believe humans can do amazing things. So rather than being afraid of this automation, we should adopt more quickly and create new things which can make a better life for humans, even not in this planet, but can also provide the opportunity for humans which will go on other planets also. So I think it's a great things to venture into. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. There is a question, how will disruptive technologies prevent frauds and malpractices in the real estate industry? I think, Arsalan, can you answer this?
Yes, sir. Sir, we have to look at the reasons for fraud if we want to prevent it. So one of the main reasons for fraud is lack of access to data and lack of transparency in a real estate transaction. So both of these problems can easily be solved through technology. Just like we are collecting data for real estate across Pakistan, we have digitized most of urban Pakistan, planned urban Pakistan, and using that data, a user will be able to easily get an idea of the valuation of a property. And secondly, we are building on our app, we are building a transparency module where a buyer will know what the seller is demanding, and they won't be dependent on the agent in between. They will know what the seller is demanding, and the seller will know what the buyer is actually giving, eliminating the fraudulent top that a real estate agent makes in a transaction. So that's how we can prevent fraud through technology.
Okay, thank you. Secondly, since I'm working on this real estate construction, we research here in IIPS on that. You'll be glad to know that there is the academia industry connection in NUST. They have started a curriculum on real estate certifications. Salam, can you just tell us something about that?
Sir, there is a major gap in Pakistan that we did not have any formal education for this sector, for real estate sector. It is one of the largest sectors and one of the biggest employment providers, but unfortunately there wasn't any formal education for this. So Grana.com, in collaboration with the IIPS and NUST, we have started an initial RE science course where the students are taught how to actually professionally work in this sector. I think it will be a great booster for this sector and will bring more professional and trained resources into this.
Okay, thank you. And, we have one question, another one. The world has transformed the construction industry, but in Pakistan, we are still into traditional brick and mortar. What are the ways to implement these technologies to make our structures strong and robust? Asad, मैं फिर डॉक्टर सरोज से एक्सपर्ट कमेंट बाद में लेता हूँ. Can you comment on this? वो बात ये कह रहे हैं कि आप इतनी हाई फाई टेक्नोलॉजीज की बात कर रहे हैं, लेकिन अगर ग्राउंड पे जाएं तो वही ईंट भट्टे से ईंट आ रही है और उसमें वो कंक्रीट के और वो स्ट्रक्चर खड़ा कर रहे हैं. थोड़ी बहुत है कि जी कॉलम और वो बीम आ गया, but we don't see any disruptive technology, at least emerging. Kuch to ho na. Perhaps this is the question they are asking.
सर आई थिंक सो मतलब ये क्वेश्चन ही बहुत रेलिवेंट है और ये क्वेश्चन इट्स अ वेरी गुड क्वेश्चन के जो ये हम लोग टेक्नोलॉजीज की बात कर रहे हैं आई मीन VR AR दे आर अमेजिंग टेक्नोलॉजीज बट ऑन ग्राउंड जब हम लोग सिचुएशन देखते हैं जहाँ कॉन्ट्रैक्टर है इंजीनियर्स हैं मिस्त्री हैं हमारे जो लेमैन है जिस तरह ह्यूमन रिसोर्स की बात की थी डॉक्टर साहब ने इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि वी हैव टू technically educate them we have to make them educate our human resource कि हम लोग ये चीज implement कर सकें why we are not implementing such dampers I believe कि अभी तक हम लोग को we are not confident enough हमारे पास knowledge भी है but we do not go for proper seismic design and application of these dampers into the building structures or properly analyzing structures we do not हमारे पास इस तरह की इंडस्ट्री भी नहीं है जो ये चीजें डेवलप कर रही है इस लिहाज से हम लोगों को आई बिलीव वी हैव टू डेवलप काइंड ऑफ रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूट मशीनरीज जहाँ ये चीजें डेवलप हों और स्पेशली इन चीज को इनको मतलब कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स को समझाने की जरूरत है मतलब उनको ये चीजें अवेयर कराने की जरूरत है कि एक स्ट्रक्चरल इंजीनियर बेसिकली होता क्या है अगर जब ऑन ग्राउंड जाएं वहाँ जैसा क्या कह सकते हैं कॉन्ट्रैक्टर जो मोस्टली ठेकेदार होता है वो स्ट्रक्चर डिजाइन भी कर रहा होता है वो उसमें सरिया भी डाल रहा होता है वो उसकी मतलब उसकी मर्जी चल रही होती है रेदर देन स्ट्रक्चरल इंजीनियर और आई बिलीव जिस तरह फरूख साहब ने कहा कि हम लोग को भी एज एन इंजीनियर्स वी शुड हैव से इन पॉलिसी मेकिंग हम लोग को इसमें इनकॉर्पोरेट करना चाहिए कि हम लोग मतलब इन कंस्ट्रक्शन इंडस्ट्री जो स्ट्रक्चरल इंजीनियर्स हैं डॉक्टर्स हैं एकेडेमिया हैं दे शुड ऑल कोलैबोरेट एंड वी शुड हैव प्रोवाइड सम काइंड ऑफ बायलॉज और प्रॉपर कोड्स फॉर आवर बिल्डिंग स्ट्रक्चर्स के इसको इस तरह डिजाइन करना चाहिए या अगर कुछ हाई राइज स्ट्रक्चर्स आ रहे हैं उसको हम लोग कैसे इम्प्रूव कर सकते हैं सो आई बिलीव हम लोग को ह्यूमन रिसोर्स डेवलप करने की ज़रूरत है इस सेक्टर में स्पेशली इस सेक्टर में क्योंकि हमारे पास मोस्टली जो लेमैन है दे आर नॉट दे डू नॉट इवन नो हाउ टू यूज मोबाइल फोन प्रॉपरली तो BIM यूज करने के लिए और टू यूज वर्चुअल रियलिटी और ऑगमेंटेड रियलिटी यूज करने के लिए वी हैव टू आल्सो समहाउ educate our human resource. I believe this is the one of the reason that we are not still utilizing these technologies.
Sir,
I think so. Dr. Suresh Saab can.
Sir, actually, it's a very interesting and a very pertinent question. The question is, ये होता क्यों नहीं? You know, if you go to academia, you go to other people, they talk very high-fi things. The ground realities are very different. इसके ना होने की वजूहात क्या है और फिर इन वजूहात को कैसे ओवरकम करके we can implement those things. तो तीन चीजें हैं मैं समझता हूँ जिसके पर हमें तवज्जो देने की जरूरत है एक है पैट्रोनेज दूसरी चीज है रेगुलेशंस और तीसरी चीज है कैपेसिटी टू एग्जीक्यूट इत्तेफाक से हमारे पास तीनों ही चीजें नहीं हमारे पास जो कंस्ट्रक्शन इंडस्ट्री पैटर्नेज है वो उस तरह की नहीं है जिस तरह की होनी चाहिए इसके बावजूद कि अभी प्रेजेंट एनवायरनमेंट में इसको कंस्ट्रक्शन इंडस्ट्री को खासी पैटर्नेज मिल रही है and now it has an official status of an industry. However, still a lot needs to be done and obviously it will take time before that thing comes in. The second thing is the regulatory framework. उस regulatory framework के लिए जैसे डॉक्टर असद ने फरमाया आपके पास बिल्डिंग कोड्स होने चाहिए बिल्डिंग रेगुलेशंस होने चाहिए बिल्डिंग कंट्रोल अथॉरिटीज को इसके बारे में पता होना चाहिए और एक कानून बनना चाहिए तो मैं आपको एक किताब दिखाना चाह रहा हूँ एंड दिस इज कॉल्ड द बिल्डिंग कोड ऑफ पाकिस्तान दिस वाज द फाइनल वर्जन was approved only yesterday. I was in Islamabad yesterday and I'm the convener of this committee which is actually making the building code of Pakistan. Previously we had building codes but you know in bits and pieces it was not really truly implemented. Hopefully this will be implemented and this will boost up the knowledge level of the design industry. This will also boost up the downstream industry which will enable us to provide better construction. तो तीसरी चीज है कि वो adoption है इन सारी चीजों का through their building control authorities. This was done under the auspices of Pakistan Engineering Council, because Engineering Council cannot trickle down to the district or Gali Mohalla level. वहाँ पे implementation हो, वहाँ पे फिर building control authorities का जिक्र आता है. और जो third चीज मैंने कहा कि human capital है. वो आप तो इकबाल इंस्टीट्यूट को ऐड कर रहे हैं, और अल्लामा इकबाल ने फरमाया कि खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से खुद पूछे बता तेरी रजा क्या है. तो जो मैं इसका इंटरप्रिटेशन है खुदी के कॉन्सेप्ट की, अपना इंटेलेक्चुअल लेवल तो वहाँ रेस करो जहाँ अल्लाह ताला से बातचीत हो सके, कैपेसिटी है. तो ये तीनों चीजों पे काम करने की जरूरत है, और जब तक ये तीनों चीजें सिंक्रोनाइज नहीं होंगी इसके फ्रूट्स बेयर नहीं कर सकते. अब सवाल ये है कि वो सिंक्रोनाइजेशन कैसे हो. आपने जैसे प्लेटफॉर्म प्रोवाइड किया, और डॉक्टर फारूक आरिफ ने बड़ी पर्टिनेंट रिकमेंडेशंस पॉलिसी दी है. मैं समझता हूँ कि जहां भी आप ये रिकमेंडेशन शेयर करें, उसमें एक तो आपको जो पाकिस्तान इंजीनियरिंग काउंसिल है उसको ऑन बोर्ड लेना बहुत जरूरी है, बिकॉज दैट इज द रेगुलेटर ऑफ इंजीनियरिंग इन पाकिस्तान. नंबर 2, एक अभी नया इदारा बना है which is called NAFTA, नया पाकिस्तान हाउसिंग डेवलपमेंट अथॉरिटी, and they are doing some fabulous work. It may take a while before the effect could be seen, but they are doing some very good work. उन्होंने बिल्डिंग डिजाइन और बिल्डिंग मटेरियल और बिल्डिंग में जो चीजें यूज होती हैं उसकी स्टैंडर्ड स्पेसिफिकेशंस ड्रॉ की हैं, एंड दैट इज गोइंग टू बी अ बेंचमार्क डॉक्यूमेंट टू इंश्योर क्वालिटी in that. And then they have actually categorized the buildings into 3 major categories: the rural buildings, the urban buildings, and the peri-urban buildings. So there's a lot of work that is going on. The synchronization has to take place. Or zahir hai, Ministry of Housing is another important agency where these recommendations must go. And I would also suggest that under either Iqbal Institute or any other forum, could be Pakistan Engineering Council or PCATP, the Pakistan Council for Architects and Town Planners, they are also big stakeholders. इसका एक joint forum develop हो, जहाँ पे policy framework और implementation plan develop हो, जिसकी effectively universities को भी जाए, higher education commission को भी जाए, engineering council को भी जाए, so that the ecosystem can be developed. जब तक ये सारी चीजें इन टेंडम नहीं होंगी, और जाहिर है इस चीज को चलाने के लिए आपको बहुत एनर्जी चाहिए और बहुत फ्यूल चाहिए. एंड दिस इज वेयर आई सी द रोल ऑफ इकबाल इंस्टीट्यूट टू प्रोवाइड दैट एनर्जी एंड प्लेटफॉर्म टू गेट दिस थिंग्स गोइंग. थैंक यू सर.
थैंक यू डॉक्टर लोधी. आपने वो कहते हैं ना दरिया को कूजे में बंद किया है, और मुझे जो चीज़ पसंद आई, जो बड़ा मुझे नोट किया मैंने, कि आपको क्या चाहिए. आपको पैटर्नेज चाहिए, रेगुलेशन चाहिए, और कैपेसिटी चाहिए. ये तीनों चीज़ें हम डेवलप कर लें तो हम देखें. मुझे याद है कि बहुत अर्सा पहले मैंने एक आर्टिकल पढ़ा था, टाइम्स में परहैप्स आया था, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट 2 decades बैक. उसमें लिखा था वी आर मेकिंग वीक यूएसए. मैंने कहा मेकिंग वीक यूएसए क्या हुआ. उसमें उसने एलैबोरेट किया हुआ था how their construction is not that durable as it used to be. I don't know, a country like USA. So therefore we are making a weak Pakistan. एक बिल्डिंग बनती है, आप देखिए कि उस पे पहले साल ही उसकी मेंटेनेंस और उसकी करेक्टिव मेजर्स के लिए पैसे लगने शुरू हो जाते हैं. आप किसी बिल्डिंग में चले जाएं, हाई राइजर में, आपको पता चल जाता है कि कहाँ कहाँ बाथरूम लोकेटेड है, बिकॉज उधर सीपेज और हो रही होती है. सो दिस इज आवर पाकिस्तान. आवर बिल्डिंग शुड लास्ट फॉर 3-4 decades, और इसमें पैसे भी बचेंगे और रहने वाले सेफ भी होंगे. जैसे मैंने आपको बताया कि हम IIPS में वी वर्क फॉर मेकिंग लिविंग बेटर, वी अफेक्ट द लाइव्स ऑफ द पीपल. तो देयर आर फ्यू क्वेश्चन मैं सिर्फ मेंशन कर रहा हूँ, दोज हैव ऑलरेडी बीन आंसर्ड. एक तो दोबारा क्वेश्चन आया कि वी हैव अ सीरियस प्रॉब्लम ऑफ अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट इन पाकिस्तान, डिसरप्टिव टेक्नोलॉजीज कट डाउन मैन पावर. डोंट यू थिंक इट्स अ बैड सोल्यूशन फॉर पाकिस्तान? डॉक्टर साहब आपने इस पे बता तो दिया है, बट क्या यू लाइक टू ऐड एनीथिंग? वो कहते हैं नौकरियां नहीं रहेंगी.
Certainly sir, I would like to. Sir, disruptive technology जो है ना, मेरी नजर में बिल्कुल ऐसी चीज है जैसे पॉलिथीन बैग्स. पॉलिथीन बैग्स जो है, जैसे शॉपर्स कहते हैं हम आम जबान में, शॉपिंग बैग्स जो है वो पॉलिथीन के बने हुए. menace, huge, big problem. Okay. We still use them because of the effectiveness of their usefulness. You know, lightweight है. आप जहां मर्जी ले जाएं, इसमें जो चीज मर्जी भर दे. ये और बात है कि हम civic sense नहीं तो हम सड़क पे फेंक. So that is what is you cannot avoid coming these disruptive technologies in. That's for sure. अब जब कोई चीज आ रही है और फोर्सफुली आ रही है तो हम उसको ब्रूटल फोर्स से नहीं रोक सकते. We'll be wasting our energy and resources. That's number one. दूसरी चीज जो है कि अगर हम ये ईमान ले आए कि ये आ रही है तो हम उसी तरह से उसको मिटिगेट करके प्लान करके उसी चीज को इफेक्टिवली यूज कर लेते हैं. तो जो इम्पोर्टेंट चीज है, देखिए आज से कुछ अर्से पहले तक जो अगर आप देखें तो कैमरे की एक बड़ी इंडस्ट्री थी और आप तस्वीरें खींचते थे और उसको जाके स्टूडियो में डेवलप कराते थे और उस डेवलप करने के बाद आपको तस्वीरें हार्ड फॉर्म में मिल जाती थी. और या 24 उसका रोल आता था या 36 तस्वीरों का रोल आता था, तो वी वर वेरी सिलेक्टिव इन टेकिंग पिक्चर्स. अब absolutely nothing of this kind is there anywhere in the world. गाँव देहातों में भी नहीं है. तो this technology ने उस बिजनेस को तो डिस्टर्ब कर दिया, अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट कितना क्रिएट किया. यू नो, उसके नतीजे में है क्योंकि मेरे सेलफोन में एक बहुत अच्छा कैमरा है और हर एक के सेलफोन में अच्छा कैमरा है, तो जो सेलफोन की डाउनस्ट्रीम इंडस्ट्री डेवलप हुई है ना, उसने एम्प्लॉयमेंट क्रिएट किया है, उसने एम्प्लॉयमेंट खत्म नहीं किया है. यू नो, देयर वाज दिस वन वेरी ब्राइट किड who came to our national incubation center and he said कि साहब मैं एक ऐसा प्राइवेट ट्रांसपोर्टेशन नेटवर्क बनाना चाहता हूँ जो कि लोगों को बड़ा फायदा हो जाएगा. But you know, he pitched that idea and we found the idea बहुत अच्छा है. So we gave him a space in our national incubation center. And I think today his company is the biggest employer in the country. And that is called Baikia.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
अब Baikia ने इस बुरी तरह से डिस्टर्ब किया लेकिन एम्प्लॉयमेंट क्रिएट किए. मैं अपने यूनिवर्सिटी के उन बच्चों को जानता हूं जो कि लेस प्रिविलेज ग्रुप से होते हैं और वो शाम को बाइकिया चलाते हैं टू ऑगमेंट देयर इनकम. तो बात है कि यस दे आर डिस्ट्रप्टिव टेक्नोलॉजीज बट नॉट इन द बैड सेंस. दे आर डिस्ट्रप्टिव टेक्नोलॉजी इन द राइट सेंस प्रोवाइडेड वी हार्नेस देम प्रॉपर्ली. अब मुझे बताइए बाइकिया का मुझे नहीं पता कितने एम्प्लॉइज हैं, बट देयर आर हंड्रेड्स एंड थाउजेंड्स ऑफ बाइकिया एम्प्लॉइज. And I take very big pride in saying that NED University has contributed significantly in generating 100,000 plus employment in this country. तो बात है कि हमें हार्नेस तो करें ना टेक्नोलॉजी को. अगर हम टेक्नोलॉजी से डर के भाग जाएंगे तो इट्स जस्ट द इनर्शिया ऑफ चेंज. तो आई मीन अब इस तरह से आप कंटिन्यूअसली देख लीजिए, पहले जमाने में स्टेनोग्राफर्स होते थे और हम डिक्टेशन देते थे लोगों को और वो बेचारा टाइप करके लाता था. अब तो दिस ट्रेंड हैज गॉन. लेकिन ऑन द एट द सेम टाइम अगर जो हम डॉक्यूमेंट्स प्रोड्यूस करते हैं उसकी लेवल ऑफ एडिटिंग इतनी इंप्रूव कर गई है कि आप एक कॉमा और फुल स्टॉप की मिस्टेक भी आपको बुरी लगती है. एंड देन यू हैव मोर पीपल डूइंग वर्ड प्रोसेसिंग देन द टाइपिस्ट एंड द स्टेनोग्राफर्स. तो बात ये कि ये हमारा खौफ है कि इसमें एम्प्लॉयमेंट होगा, एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेट होगा.
Sir, very elaborately answered. I'm really, because it is going to create more job opportunities because there will be new avenues opening, new technologies, new industry, new sub-industry. And I have two historical examples, one from corporate sector and other from political. You know, in Ottoman Empire, when this printing machine was introduced in the Europe, on recommendation of the clergy, Ottoman Empire did not introduce the printing machines. And this was one main reason of decline of Ottoman Empire, because they did not adopt the disruptive technology of printing press. And then there were books which were available in Europe, the knowledge which was not available to the Ottoman Empire and in Turkey. Secondly, Kodak. You mentioned about the photography and cameras. They could have switched to the latest technologies. They did not. And they continued, and the company is not what the great Kodak used to be. I read it somewhere, so therefore I'm mentioning. We should not be shy of disruptive technologies. Rather, with this population, with the kind of problems we have, disruptive technologies, in my layman understanding, these will be a redeeming factor. This would solve our problems rather than creating problems. Sir, thank you very much. We'll I'll get parting comment from Dr. Lodi. Any other panelist who would like to say anything? Arsalan, Asad, Farrukh, if you are listening to me. Just a parting comment.
So just one comment, if you allow. See, Dr. Lodi very well answered that question. I cannot top anything about. But what I have understood from my mentors, if you do not challenge yourself, whether it be as an individual or as a society, you would go nowhere. So this is the case with disruptive technologies as well. If you remain afraid of the impacts, which are not negative impacts rather, as Dr. Lodi explained. So when you would challenge, then your human resource would also start and try to learn new things. When the business as routine would continue, they would also love to do business as routine. So if you need to develop your society intellectually and mentally as well, you need to incorporate new technology. Now, everyone is using Google Maps. Why? Because now everyone knows that it is accurate, it's correct. Previously, the way we used to communicate the addresses was so funny. I cannot crack a joke here, but if somebody would mention a landmark, which if it moves from there, then we would be lost in the street. But Google Maps have revolutionized that. So that is why you challenge your public. Not everyone who is using Google Maps is educated enough or is capacitated enough, but they are using. So you would have to challenge the human resource in that sense.
Okay. Arsalan, you wanted to say something?
यस सर, उसमें ये है कि टेक्नोलॉजी को हमें एम्ब्रेस करना चाहिए. इससे जॉब्स जाएंगी नहीं, इनफैक्ट नई जॉब्स क्रिएट होंगी. और ये होगा कि आपको स्किल्स थोड़े डिफरेंट एक्वायर करने पड़ेंगे. जो पहले बात भी हुई कि करिकुलम को अडेप्ट करना होगा, कि आर्किटेक्ट को शायद वो सारे स्किल्स अभी ना चाहिए हों जो उसे पहले चाहिए होते थे. तो उसमें कुछ ऐसा नहीं है कि जॉब्स खत्म हो जाएंगी या कुछ इस तरह. नई जॉब्स इनफैक्ट क्रिएट होंगी. इसकी एक बड़ी अच्छी एग्जांपल है 2011 में जब मैंने अपनी इंजीनियरिंग कंप्लीट की, तो मैंने फाइनल ईयर प्रोजेक्ट बनाया ऑगमेंटेड रियलिटी ऐप. अब इंटरेस्टिंग बात है कि 2007 में जब मैंने शुरू की थी इंजीनियरिंग, तब ये टेक्नोलॉजी एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं करती थी. और फिर ऑगमेंटेड रियलिटी को मैंने कमर्शियली काफ़ी सेल भी किया और उसे काफ़ी अर्न भी किया. तो जब मैं कॉलेज यूनिवर्सिटी ज्वाइन कर रहा था, तब ये एग्जिस्ट भी नहीं करती थी टेक्नोलॉजी. तो ये
थैंक यू. Yes, Dr. Saab, I would request you to conclude the session and your comments, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for providing me this opportunity to wrap up things. Sir, Henry Kissinger once said, the change is inevitable. The more you resist it, the more it will come with a bigger bang. So the change has to come in life. अल्लाह ताला का निज़ाम भी ऐसे ही है कि आपको continuous dynamics है उसके अंदर, movement. And we must learn a lesson from the systems around us. And we must not try to resist change. And we must not try to look into the future. So इसमें भी दो एक चीजें हैं. एक ये कि we have to develop that mindset that we are ready to adopt changes. The second thing is that we have to develop the capacity to mitigate and to harness the change that is going to come in. And then we need institutions like Iqbal Institute, who has created a window into future, that what the future would look like, and the way the people are going to live, and then develop recommendations so that we become a whistleblower or a bell ringer, which tells that this is the direction that we should be moving on. So the lesson of my life and the lesson of today's discussion are more or less the same, maybe in different magnitude, that we must not resist change, and we must try and develop systems of harnessing positive changes. And that could be done through, obviously, the patronage, which is the policy framework. where Dr. Farooq Arif has spoken some of these things. Arsalan Javed Saab has also touched upon these things, and Dr. Asad Naeem was more specific about a kind of disruptive technology in construction. The other thing is that obviously, if that's going to be the future of the world, we have to develop not only policy but the implementation mechanism and try and develop human capital. I'll just give you one example. That Japan has opened immigration. Japan is a very closed culture and a country. They have allowed immigration to the people who can help them develop work as computer technicians. They could foresee that there is a serious decline or there will be a huge need of these kind of specialized people in their country because of the aging population, because of the lack of understanding or the challenge that they see in future. And I think we should take lead from these things and develop a policy where institutions like Ministry of IT, the Higher Education Commission, the Pakistan Engineering Council, the other regulatory council be part of that policy framework and develop a roadmap of what Pakistan would look like uh, in the next 25 years. We don't only develop a roadmap, but we also develop the key performance indicators and milestones to measure the progress in which this country is moving. In the end, I would like to thank once again Harun Aslam especially, and Iqbal Institute for providing these platforms continuously in different areas to actually instigate the positive thinking so that we can provide policy recommendations and the country can move in the right direction. Thank you very
much. Thank you, Dr. I thank all the panelists for being with us, especially Dr. Lodi. The best you can nowadays, the life is so fast that if you give some time, that is very precious for us. And few very good presentations, very good views from eminent panelists. And inshallah, we'll prepare a comprehensive report and send it to the people, to the decision makers. And our purpose is to inform the decision makers that what we are doing and what we should be looking into the future. As said earlier, that we have to see where do we want to take Pakistan in the next 25 years, 50 years. The great civilizations, the great nations, they think not in decades, but in centuries. Where do we want our children to be? So therefore, we should not stop dreaming, and we should not. We should keep struggling, keep working to make the lives of the people better for Pakistanis. Thank you very much, sir. Once again, I thank you all. Wonderful to have you. Thank you, sir. Khuda Hafiz.